Most likely you have no idea who am I, what is it that I do, what is kind of my story, and today I'm gonna reveal it all to you guys. My name is Kasper and this is my story.
Just one more tear to cry, a teardrop on my eye.
I was born in Helsinki, Finland, but for some reason I've managed to live in 4 countries by the age of 23. So let's kind of rewind it back to 2004 whilst I was living in Sweden and where it kind of all began. Back in the day, my dad used to play ice hockey, and being a little kid, watching your dad play hockey in Sweden, you see kind of people in the arena celebrating your dad scoring goals, and well, I was living in locker rooms and being kind of, since the beginning, one of the boys, even though I was just a little kid. This is where it all began. This is kind of the root of my dreams, and this was my identity for a long time. Our whole family moved to Sweden. We were all kind of living the life of watching my dad play hockey, being in the stands, obviously seeing him succeed. And that for me as a young kid, as a young son, was kind of the dream, seeing my dad be what I always wanted to be. So for a long time I was kind of, well, I used to sleep with my skates. I used to go to bed with my skates. I was always just playing hockey. And then it happened. I laced up the skates. I started becoming a so-called hockey player, obviously as a young kid. And I'm sure a lot of you can kind of resonate with the feeling of being a young kid playing sports, dreaming about being the superstar, going out there and just kind of witnessing the feeling of I'm gonna be this, the little boy from Rosario. So yeah, let's fast forward a little bit. I started playing hockey. We moved back to Finland. I was still a young little kid. It was my whole identity, following my father's footsteps, becoming a actual professional hockey player. But going from kind of being just a child, living carefree in Sweden, watching my dad play hockey, to going to Finland, being in school, the whole environment changes a little bit. You're not perhaps just a careless child, you become a teenager. You have to stress about school, you have to stress about exams, you gotta stress about a lot of stuff. It all kind of changed it. I wasn't the same guy dreaming about being in hockey. I was just kind of participating. It was more of a, yeah, I'm a hockey player, that's it. But then all of a sudden, at like age 16, I somehow, I don't know why, I came across this one motivational video from Conor McGregor.
Get the fuck out of here!
Which is quite a character, but all of a sudden I saw this video of him speaking about kind of, if you work hard enough, you can achieve anything you want. And him going from pretty much nothing, I think he was kind of like a plumber, to all of a sudden winning 2 world championships and just going from nothing to absolutely everything. And then I kind of became obsessed, and that's also kind of the message I guess he was kind of saying to a lot of people, that you need to become a little bit obsessed, you need to be a little bit delusionally confident. And I implemented that mindset, and all of a sudden I kind of went full psycho mode of I'm gonna do whatever it takes to achieve this dream.
Hold up, wait a minute. Y'all thought I was finished? When I bought the ass tomorrow, y'all thought it was rented? Flexing on these niggas, I'm like Popeye on the spinach. Double M, yeah, that's my team. Rose, the captain, I'm lieutenant.
And it's funny to me because I actually remember that at like age 16 I used to always run in that one island called Mustikkamaa, and they were building these towers back in the day, and I was like always looking at kind of the skyline and seeing like, if someday I can live in this building, like that would be the dream. Obviously back then I was thinking about like as a hockey player maybe playing in the local team here and moving to this tower, but that was kind of like something that I always thought about. Now it's funny enough that I'm living here. It's not a achievement, but also kind of showcases that if you work hard enough, you can achieve things. So yeah, after going so-called psycho mode of I'm gonna do whatever it takes, I was running all the time, training all the time, training 2 times a day. But then all of a sudden I went from being below the average in the team and only playing, let's say, on the 3rd or 4th line, to playing in the 1st or 2nd line, playing power play. Hockey guys will understand. So yeah, let's fast forward a little bit. Then I had a few so-called good seasons. I got the opportunity to go and play in the US, and this was the breaking point for me. Then in the US, I finally arrived. I was excited. I met all the lovely teammates. It was exciting times, but it was everything that I did not expect. you've probably seen kind of the movies of American Pie or the so-called movies about the US college lifestyle. And trust me, it was exactly that. In my mind, I was thinking that, hey, I'm gonna be living with young, driven guys who wanna make it in this world, who are intelligent, who are smart about their decisions, who are disciplined, hockey players who, are driven and act in a certain way of optimizing their health, perhaps, working hard in school and on ice. Going from the expectation of going to the US, I've been to the US, I know how it is, and kind of living in this, I think it was like a $65 million sports facilities, and yeah, it was awesome. But living in a shitty house with 6 guys who were not what I was expecting. And I was just the youngest in the team as a foreigner from a small country of Finland. I got a tiny, shitty room in the middle of the living room where they were partying pretty much 24/7. And in my head, I was in this grind mode of, hey, now I'm gonna do whatever it takes here to get the opportunity to someday go semi-pro or professional or whatever it may be. But perhaps it was my fault, I had the wrong expectations. And well, I'm not gonna go into all the details of what that chapter of my life had in store for me, but I can tell that the guys had a lot of fun. It was just like in the movies. I would be expecting that guys would party, let's say, once a week or sometimes when they were free, but it was from like Thursday minimum till Sunday of like all the drugs, all the alcohol, all the snooze. Like, think of your wildest imagination. That's what I went through. So for me, that was not what I was expecting or kind of signing up. The first year I was kind of trying my best to be a little bit different from the people around me and stay true to kind of my core. But still I was living in the same anxiety of, okay, these guys are not really all in on making their dreams happen. They don't know what the fuck they're doing with their lives. They're like wasting their young years abusing drugs, alcohol, and not working hard, eating unhealthy foods. Like, it didn't make much sense to me. So during the time before preparing for the second season now in Westfield, we went to Lake Como. We had a lot of time traveling Europe. And during that time, I realized like, okay, well, I remember having this exact moment in Lake Como. If you've ever been, you know how beautiful it is. Probably out of like 21 countries that I've been in, the most beautiful place of all time. And I was sipping coffee in the morning and looking at the beautiful Lake Como view, and it kind of occurred to me that being in Lake Como, sipping coffee in the morning, just kind of had this realization of, well, this is the life that I want. I'm not able to do this if I keep going to university for 3 years. My path after that will be a finance degree. But after that moment, it got me thinking, like, this is like, I'm not enjoying hockey anymore. It's not fun. This path will not take me where I want to go. So after Lake Como, I had like 3 weeks of going from paradise to then traveling into the US and experiencing the so-called shithole. Again, I'm not a big fan of the US if you don't know me. So during that 8-hour flight, I spent quite a bit of time challenging my identity and kind of carving a new identity, which is a weird concept and perhaps a painful concept. And you got to ask yourself a lot of painful questions about who is it that you actually are? And is this that you're currently living, is that like aligned with your identity or the identity that you want to be? So now the second season starts in the US and I decided to go all in, but I changed my whole identity. I set a goal of making around 5,000 per month, which would be in Finland or anywhere in the world pretty much a good salary for yourself to be able to live the life that you want. But I knew that I couldn't just drop out of college and, just say that I'm gonna do something without any proof to all my family, to everyone. It wouldn't make any sense. So I set the goal of, I'm gonna create some sort of an online business from the US whilst in college, whilst playing hockey. And if I make 5,000 per month doing so, I will immediately after drop out. So now I had a clear roadmap. I have another season from like August until May I have time around school, whenever I have free time, to figure it the fuck out. So yeah, I established my first business of Leadsify, saw the opportunity of advertising for political candidates. I decided that after like many months of just watching, or years watching content, looking at other people doing the stuff that you want to do and just looking, I decided to fuck that and just go all in. Now it's a time, there's no time to waste. So all of a sudden I have a website, I have everything that I need in place, the pitch deck, or perhaps I didn't have everything in place to start, but I just started. I figured out how can I reach out to these political candidates from Finland, and I was figuring out all of this stuff by myself, and I just found ways like, okay, I need to scrape these people's email addresses, and then I need to write emails to them. How can I do that in the most perfect way? How can I get them interested? Okay, I gotta use instantly.ai, then I gotta use these domains, I gotta do the warm-up, and this is kind of the style of copywriting that I need to do to get them interested. I was studying at all times. Then I launched my first campaign of reaching out to these political candidates, and wow, that was wild. I think I launched the campaigns and I was getting like interested political candidates every single day, because it was kind of like no one was reaching out to them in a way that I was doing so, and it just like hit right away. I guess that was luck, or that was preparation from many years or months, and then it just happened. But pretty much I was waking up at like 4:30 a.m. in the US because of the time zone to have meetings with political candidates from Finland, and that was before school. But yeah, had a lot of meetings. Actually, the first ever meeting that I had, I was scared shitless, but somehow I ended up getting them as a client. And then you receive the notification of getting the first money ever, pretty much, of something that you have created, something that you have worked hard for, and that was pretty much the highest dopamine that you can probably ever get. The first kind of online money, and that was 1,300 euros. Not much, but for me it was kind of like, okay, like I can actually do this. I remember right away sending voice notes and calling my mom and my family like, I'm actually making this happen. This is insane. I'm making money whilst I'm in school and playing hockey, and yeah, it was surreal. Then quickly after that, as these meetings came more and more, and I was having a lot of meetings on a daily basis, like my calendar was fully packed whilst in college. Then I was really like not going to courses because I noticed that I can actually make this happen now. So I had these meetings, I closed a second client at the same price. Then I was like, oh wow, 2.6k now. Then more meetings came in, I upped my prices, which was scary. I remember recording this, maybe you can see this whilst hearing me, but upped the price to 2,000. And then that also worked. And then all of a sudden I'm like, okay, well, now we're at 4.6k, like we're 400 away from the goal that I set. And this was like, this whole timeline that you hear, launching a website and having three clients, this was maybe like 2 to 3 weeks. And then I got the fourth client. I actually can't remember what was the price, but it was a weird pricing, but it went over the 5k mark. And then I was in a position like, okay, now I have 4 clients, I'm in school, I'm playing hockey, we're having playoffs, and yeah, it was a lot of pressure for me, obviously. Now I gotta fulfill. Luckily for me, I was studying a lot of courses, how to do paid advertising, how can I help them. So I did a pretty good job with them. Obviously I liked the time, but I sacrificed my sleep doing so. And I was already making more than 5k per month. I think it was like 6.1 or something like that. I pretty much right away called it. And I told my friends there, I told my family, like I was very scared to do so, but I promised myself, so I had to do it and keep my word. And then at like 6 something K per month, I decided to drop out, fly back to Finland. So pretty quickly after the political campaigns were over, and I decided that, hey, this was also the story behind the name of Leadsify. I already kind of knew that whether it's ads that I want to do, which is leads, ads is in the middle, and then the leads is also in the name. I knew that I had the option to either continue doing digital marketing with advertising or digital marketing with lead generation. That's the name Leadsify. So quickly after it was over, I didn't like stop and start planning and procrastinating. It was all action. Leadsify continuing or just kind of pivoting towards B2B lead generation. And that's what we did. And we went all in on that. I partnered up with my co-founder, Ronnie. And then it was rapid growth ever since. Now around 15 to 16 months later, from that point, we've gone from being at pretty much zero after the political campaigns to working with B2B companies all over the world, some of the most promising startups in the world, and a lot of big companies that we are now partnering up with. And pretty much in 15 months, we scaled this from nothing after the political campaigns to now being in a position where we have a team of over 10 people, and then also we're right now at around 75,000 in monthly recurring revenue in US dollars. It's not about the best man winning. It's about outlasting your competition and the last man standing. So in this game of right now where everyone has enough information, everyone can so-called make it, and it's more about outlasting your competition and just committing more and sticking into the process. So even though right now it may seem like, okay, this guy makes a lot of money and he lives in this nice view, that's not the case. It's still a lot of grind, it's still a lot of sacrifice. I'm working all the time. I can't just stop working and, well, I could just stop working and fly to Bali and relax, but my business, that wouldn't do well. So be skeptical of kind of what people say. Also making like 75,000 in monthly recurring revenue, gross revenue, that's not like my personal income. It's gross revenue. There's taxes, there's team that you gotta pay to. So just be a little bit skeptical of what people say online. But yeah, the funny thing is, this is just the beginning. I'm still like just in the beginning phases of my entrepreneurial journey. Well, literally just getting started, and in around a week, I'm gonna be traveling with my agency and our core team. We're gonna be traveling to Split, Croatia. We have booked a villa for around 4 to 5 days, and yeah, we're just getting started. So to conclude, I quickly went from pretty much dreaming about becoming a hockey player to living in the US and then dropping out of college and then going and completely transforming my life by becoming an entrepreneur. But to also mention, I don't have a rags to riches story. I came from a lovely middle-class family with a lot of support, supporting me, so yeah. But if you have somehow managed to watch this far, I truly appreciate it. You must have a better attention span than like 95% of others, so I appreciate it. But now if you want to join kind of the journey and see where we are going to be going from here, you can subscribe. I would also love to kind of hear your stories, so you can shoot me a message. For example, on Instagram, I'm checking out the DMs at Creative Kasper with K's, not C's. And yeah, I would love to hear your story and your feedback on kind of this, and if you kind of resonate with the sports background and then going into entrepreneurship, and yeah, we'd love to hear more. But now off to Croatia.